Hello friends! Today I wanted to talk with you about knitting in warmer climates. I moved to Florida this summer, right at the beginning of the summer, and I've been here up until now. 1 quick note, I run hot. I constantly feel hot. Right now it's 75 degrees outside. Yeah, I use Celsius all my life and I can convert that. I think it's like 23 degrees Celsius outside. It's not supposed to be hot, it's supposed to be warm. I'm hot. Even now, if I was, I don't know, wearing just a tank top right now, I would still be hot. I can't bear hot weather, warm weather, and sun. I need things to be gloomy, I need things to be cold to feel comfortable. So that's something to take into account because I'm biased. Well, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of more experienced knitters who live in warm climates and they can share their secrets. I would be more than happy to see any of your advice in the comments, please. But since moving here, I've researched Reddit, Facebook knitting groups, I watched channels of people who live in warm climates, I watched channels of people who live in California, Australia, I think somewhere else too, but I can't remember actually. And well, every knitter goes through summer season when you just sometimes can't take wool into your hands if you don't live in a very cold place. Well, maybe you can, but I definitely can't. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So I kind of wanted to share with you my tips on how I survive it, especially how I went through this summer. I created a bundle of warm weather patterns on Ravelry. And I was just saving up everything I think that can work. Some of them are more like vests that still use wool that I thought I might wear during the winter. Some of them are just accessories like cotton bags or, oops, my cat is trying to ruin my setup. Hello, buddy. Let me show you the people. That is Stinky. His name is Stinky because he stinks a lot. But he's pretty. He's a pretty kitty. Okay, some of the patterns are more like tops, tank tops, etc., camisoles. And well, I still need warm patterns. I still create sweaters, I still create hats, I still create wool socks. There are certain reasons to that. I hope we will travel to cold places and I hope I will need those things. I hope we will move from Florida to a colder place eventually and I will use those things, and there are cold periods even here. So for example, recently we went through a period where I was wearing a sweater, like a fleece jacket and sometimes hoodie on top, and I would still be cold. So this period is long gone and I miss it with all my heart. Anyways, right now I have sweater on my needles, I have wool sock on my needles. I don't think I'm gonna touch them until autumn. It's unbearably hot now for me. So let's go back to our warm weather patterns, camisoles and tank tops. So one thing to go when we go into it, I don't use wool for it. I know that there are people who do and they feel comfortable wearing it. They're even comfortable wearing it during summer. I am not, and I think if you run hot, you will not be comfortable doing that. It's an option if you live in a very cold climate and you layer it. So for example, just additional layer to add warmth. But in my opinion, for me, for the way my body works, it would not work for summer, spring or autumn. So I use cotton. This is, for example, Eddie Bayer, just thin cotton thread. It's fingering weight. I bought it at Gem and I think they're running low on this, and God, I wish I bought more. So this is a gift knit. I'm knitting essentially a complete replica of a top I already have for a family member, but this time I'm making it longer because they asked. The pattern name is, I think, mock neck top. I will put the proper name here by Jessie Made. So here is how it looks. I love that thing, especially after I ran it through the washing machine. No dryer. I think. Maybe I did put it in a dryer. I think I did put it in a dryer. Either way, it shrank just a tiny bit, and it's good because it was getting pretty stretched, as well, cotton does stretch. I love that thing. I can wear it during evening in the summer. during morning. I would not wear it during the day. It's still a thicker fabric, even on 3mm needles. And even with finger weight, I can't bear it. It layers well for autumn, winter, spring. For colder days, it layers perfectly with a cardigan, some jacket, or just, I don't know, linen shirt on top. So this is a great option. Other thing I tried using is a linen viscose blend. I lost this camisole. I spent 3 or 4 months knitting it, and I have no idea where it is. It's somewhere in my apartment. At least I hope it is. P camisole by Nabita. Oh no, I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce it. I'm sorry, I'm not an English native speaker, so I'm gonna put the name here, and for the next time I will definitely learn how to pronounce it correctly. Either way, that's a great pattern. I loved it. There were so many tricky things about knitting it. It is knitted on very thin needles, like 2mm, 2.25, 2.5mm needles. It was not fun at all. My hands were hurting for a month at least after I finished it, but I love it. I love that thing. I don't know how I could lose it. It's a staple in my wardrobe. I would not attempt knitting it again, but if you live in a hot climate and you do want to have a knitted camisole, I really recommend it, just if you don't have any problems with your wrist. If you do not, just don't. I have multiple patterns saved up for summer top ideas. For example, camisole number 5 by my favorite things knitwear. Montpellier top. I love it because it uses 5 and 5.5mm needles, and I would not wear it in the summer. Maybe again, like spring, autumn, even winter, but it's pretty cool. It will go faster, it will be easier on your hands. Sounds great for me. Morning side top. Camisole number 7. It's been on my list of things to make for like a year, or since it came out. I can't choose the right material for that. Yeah, cloud top, sassy classy crop top. I do like my mock necks, even for summer tops. I really like how they look. Camisole number 5, made into dress. Just look at that. I would not attempt doing that anytime soon, but it looks just wow. Just wow. Cumulus top. That seems pretty good for hot weather because it has a lot of open areas. I am not looking for bra friendly patterns. I do not wear bras in the summer and in general, so on my side I'm looking for like non-bra friendly patterns, and I don't think people talk about it often enough because I'm looking for something that would not be essentially transparent and I can wear it without a bra. I really don't hear people looking for something that's non-bra friendly, and I am. It sometimes requires some playing around with materials and your gauge to avoid, well, being a little too open. The other option is cumulus dress. Again, it's cumulus top converted into a dress. I'm gonna add links to Ravelry projects, so it's just adaptations that people personally did to create something like that. It's wow. I love it. This one I might even attempt creating, but don't quote me on that because that looks... it requires quite some creativity and I think math skills. Now, there's also Speedy Race Bragg bralette, and it would be pretty obvious to use bralettes as, you know, summer and hot weather friendly pattern option. It's a little tricky. I have very wide back, essentially chest, but I don't have big boob size, so it's hard finding bralettes and bras and tops that suited well. I expect that on my side it would require quite some adaptation. Plus, if we're talking about not using wool and only using cotton, bamboo, linen, viscose, etc. for summer projects, they have much less elasticity, which would mean, well, it creates certain problems with bras because you want them to be a little elastic to hold everything in place. So I looked a lot through projects, like personal projects people made and attached on Ravelry, and not every, but most of the projects I like use wool, and I'm not gonna use wool for a bralette, especially living in Florida. So I just don't see it as an option for now. I saw a few projects that used cotton and bamboo, and they look just impressive. They're very pretty, but I don't trust this material to keep looking good after a few washes, and I don't want to spend my time and money creating something that's just not gonna look good after, you know, a week or two if I wear it. So I love that, but it's not an option for me currently. I just don't think I have enough skill or knowledge in the knitting world to, you know, go about it the right way. There is one yarn that is very hard to get in the US apparently, that I would really like to get, which is Alizea Diva Stretch, and there's nothing natural about it. I think it's like polyester, acrylic, something like that, with nylon, and it has a lot of stretch. People use it to crochet swimsuits. I would love to try it out just as an experiment for at least one garment, but it's very overpriced if you're trying to buy it in the US, and I'm just not ready to pay like $30 for 1 or 2 balls of yarn that would cost $2 in my home country or somewhere in another country that has it more available. Now, another option would be to night top. I love how it looks. I love my high necks, even for the summer. I love how they look, but well, it would need a lot of structure to look pretty, so it would either need to be dense cotton or again some kind of wool blend. So I wouldn't probably use it for summer or for living in Florida or any other hot place essentially, except you're ready to really put a lot of effort in making it look good, which I'm not at the time. But it's an option. If I really want to create it, I would probably add elastic thread in the neck, and then try to find some type of cotton that's a little rougher, that would hold the shape a little better. One of the things that people on Reddit especially recommended as hot weather knitting pattern, shawls, and it didn't seem logical at the time, but then I kind of got into that idea. Now let me explain why. While living in a hot place, you often have ACs everywhere. If not in your personal apartment or house, then when you go to the store, restaurant, cafe, cinema, everywhere. It's really cold, and it can get uncomfortable pretty fast if you're wearing, I don't know, tank top that covers barely anything, and you feel completely comfortable outside in hot weather, but then you go in a room where AC is blasting and you're cold, and well, it can be very uncomfortable. So shawls, especially very thin shawls, sound like a very good option to me. I have few options saved up for myself. One of them would be What's the Fade by Andrea Mori. Don't remember why exactly I saved this one, because it's using finger weight yarn, that's why. So even if I would use wool, it would still be pretty comfortable because I would only put it on myself when I'm feeling cold. And it doesn't use a lot of yarn, so it's pretty budget friendly. Then another one I really want to make is Fluff, and it uses mohair, silk mohair. I would not probably use it during summer in Florida, maybe during winter if I want to put something on my shoulders. There is personal reason for me wanting to make it. My mom used to have something very fluffy that would remind me of a spider web. It's like some kind of shawl that she used to have, and as a child I would run and steal it just to put it on my shoulders because it felt so luxurious and I loved it. It was funny. I would fluff because it reminded me of spiderweb, and it would be, I don't know, it was just like a almost magical experience for me at the time. I would love to recreate that to remind myself of this time. So there's personal reason, but I still think it might be a pretty cool project, especially if you want to try out mohair and you live in a hot place. Other thing I want to do is lilac lace shawl. So that's lace, that's a lace shawl. It uses less lace weight yarn, and I have my options somewhere here. Here's what I want to use. This is alpaca and silk blend. It's very, very, very thin. It's very soft. I was contemplating using it for some kind of bralette project, but my size changes a lot, and there's no guarantee that I'm gonna be wearing the same bralette size in a year or 2 or 3. And this is a very emotional yarn for me, like it's important. the person who gifted it, the time when it was gifted, the fact that I still have this yarn from Ukraine while living in another country. I would like to have something I can still have around and even wear and use, even if I lose a size or gain a size. So sure it is. And it looks like a very cool thing to wear on some kind of clean white t-shirt or top. I don't know, I just like the style. Now another thing you can try out if you live in a hot place and you wanna try out silk mohair but you wouldn't add it to wool to create dense fabric is, I call it spiderweb sweaters. That's how we call them, at least in Ukraine. I will attach pattern here. This one is an Etsy note and Ravelry. That's the one I used. I love it. I love that thing. You can wear it when it's a little cool outside and you just put it on top of tank top or anything like that, and you can easily take it off. You can put it in the smallest bag possible if you fold it, and it does create some level of warmth. I don't know, people say it doesn't help them. It helps me, maybe because I run hot, but I don't know, I just like it. Again, it's this vibe of wearing spiderweb. There's something about it. Another thing is DK Sugar Boo bralette. I wouldn't wear it during summer. Would probably wear it as a layering piece during winter and other transitional seasons. Just something easy to put in your needles. Kind of everything there is to it. Other things that I would consider knitting living in a hot place is probably t-shirts. I sweat a lot if I'm hot, and I'm almost always hot, so I only wear oversized things like that. I hate when things touch my armpits. Well, that's getting a little personal here. Anyways, oops, look at my stickers, I love those. Essentially, I have a list of some oversized t-shirts that I would consider knitting living in a hot place, and I would probably recommend them to you, but I haven't tried them, so don't quote me on that. After I'll try them, I'll let you know how that worked out for me. So it's tee number 1, super basic tee, moonset tee, I like that detail, a lame loop tee. This one I would probably use some kind of silk cashmere blend. I would not buy it from some yarn brand. I would buy it on a cone, as you know, there's a lot of cones with Italian yarn that is left over from clothes production, like luxury brand clothes production. I like buying those because it's, you know, something that would go to waste and you're using it, and it's much cheaper. I would use something fluffy and maybe wear it in the winter instead of a sweater, because, you know, I barely get a chance to wear actual sweaters. Another option would probably be Hatsuki. I'm not sure. This one, I really like it. I like the shoulder detail, and I like a little lace here. I don't know, just like how it looks. I would also consider making a Faya summer top, I think. Please correct my pronunciation. Well, you might need to correct my pronunciation on every second thing, so maybe don't. I like lace on it. I like all the details. I guess there's some cabling going on. You know, if you don't need a lot of sweaters, you don't get a lot of chances to do cabling. I miss cabling, so that's definitely an option. Again, I think I have to be a little careful, and you would probably have to be a little careful with materials to look good. So still keep it, you know, summery and light and not hot, not too warm, but also hold the cables and look decent with them. But I would say it's worth it. Another option would be all good tee. I love this one. I love how it looks. I don't see a lot of projects there, and I love looking at completed projects by people to actually see if, you know, patterns always look good when the designer made them and had a professional photo shoot. But I like seeing how different variations made by people look, because I guess it's a little more realistic in my opinion. And I like this one. It looks like an actual t-shirt, like a t-shirt you would buy in a store, and I don't know, there's just something about it. I would be, again, pretty careful about the material you would use for that, because this one it looks a little dense. Maybe that's just the combination author used, but I think it can get pretty hot, especially with longer sleeves, pretty fast. Other things is the naked tee. This one I think uses very thin cashmere yarn. It would take a lot of styling. I would only wear this in the winter, living in the climate I am in right now. But it's a good option, you know, you work with wool and you can still actually wear it and bear wearing it. I don't know, I would maybe experiment with it, but again, I would advise looking through projects on Ravelry, for example, or on Instagram, anywhere you're actually using for that, and seeing end results of projects by other people and seeing if you actually like them, because I would say they look a little different to the pattern picture. So there's quite some difference. I don't know what it is, either materials people used or just, I don't know, different gauge, different bodies. They look a little different to me, so I would take that into account. One thing I missed for shawls actually is calico shawl. This one used by Dawn Barker, and this one is using pulling technique. Essentially, that is at least how I understood from Googling. I just recently got familiar with this technique. You buy special yarn that was hand dyed in a special manner. So there are like chunks of yarns at different intervals. And essentially, while knitting, there's something you're doing, I don't know, I don't have a pattern yet, that creates this flower effect. And I love how it looks. You know, I would make this one just to actually experience working in this technique. It sounds very fun, but hand-dyed yarn is not budget friendly, so I'm postponing this one for a better time. Other things I would consider is kind of vest thingies. I only have two that I would save up and consider doing, which is Lana vest. I would make this one with probably very thin yarn. So this one is originally intended to be knit in Aran. I would probably use fingering, maybe even light fingering weight, and mohair to make it a little more breathable. I just like how it looks. It's personal preference. And again, you get a chance to cable, which you don't do a lot. Well, I am not doing a lot living in a hot place. Other thing is Velma top. I would call it a vest in some way. I really like how it looks. It's pretty cool. And yep, it is in English. Okay. I like how close it is to her armpits in the pictures. Again, for me, if something is hugging my armpits, it is not summer friendly whatsoever. But you know, people are different, and I'm just modifying most of my projects to put them further away from my armpits. I think it's important mentioning it. I'm pretty sure there are more people struggling with that problem. At least some people struggling with this problem, and you know, sometimes it just helps hearing that someone else is dealing with that. There's a few dresses, for example 230503 Lola dress by Sunless Garden. I have no idea how to get this pattern. It's kind of hard getting their patterns. I know that Knitting Traditions needed one, and oh my god, I was in love with this one. That is so pretty. At least the one she made, it was so pretty. Other thing I would consider doing is it's swimming suits. Well, you would crochet those ones, usually not knit them. I have Pollyanna swimsuit and Shellye collection. I like how they look, but they would require quite some special yarn if you want to be able to comfortably swim in them, which would require some searching. I think I found 3 options that would work fine for swimsuits, but again, you would have to order them. You can just go to some nearby yarn store and get them usually. There's lime skirt that I really like. I am not sure I'm brave enough right now to wear something like that, but that's an option. If I ever feel like that, I would definitely consider making one. There's also Colette Monachini one piece. I don't see the rest of the name, but it's a swimsuit and I love how it looks. I would also consider making different accessories. For example, salutary get bag. I have no idea how to pronounce this one. I think that's the only bag I have saved up. I don't need a lot of bags, but it's a topic you can explore for hot weather knitting. My hands get pretty tired from knitting with thick fiber, and for bags you would usually use something thicker that's not wool. Very often it would be cotton or some plant-based fiber. I would not be here enough to make multiples, but I would definitely make one or maybe even 2. One being a gift knit. I don't know, it just looks cool. I would like to have one for the summer. Other thing is maybe one cardigan. I have a subtle lines cardigan saved up. It uses fingering weight yarn, and that's a big thing, especially for the summer. So I would definitely use something like maybe cotton merino by Knitting for Olive, or any type of blend that's, you know, not as hot as full wool. And I would have something like that, again, mostly for cold evenings. I don't get that in Central Florida during summer, but for example during winter it would say it's a pretty wearable piece for AC places, or, you know, going to cinema. I think that would work quite well. So that's it on my hot weather knitting list. Yours might be completely different. It's very personal for people. For me, I like my pieces being pretty practical. So that's how I work around that. I really hope I will move away to a colder place and I will be knitting sweaters and doing maybe one top or like cotton summer top a year. That would be enough for me, but right now it's not really an option and I still like knitting. So that's how I work around it, you know, because you have to adapt even if you don't really like it. Oh, actually, one thing I forgot, I don't have a pattern for that, but it's just like half of granny square. I crochet this one with cotton and I love. It's like a bandana. I love wearing it in my hair. Like, well, you would put it like that and tie it up to put your hair away from your face, and it's so fast, it's so simple. If I don't have money to buy new cool yarn, I just use some cheap cotton to create one of those in a different color. I would make them as gift knits, but I don't know anyone whose style would be, you know, connect with it to wear it, but I just make them for myself for now, and it's a good like palette cleanser essentially. So that's my list now. Thank you for being here with me. If you live in a warm place, or in general, you know, oops, sorry about that, if you need during summer when it's hot out and you can't bear touching wool, share your secrets. I would be more than happy to hear them. You know, we can all learn something new here. And thank you for watching. I hope you have great knitting.